Hey everyone, sorry I'm late with the video this week, but this week we'll be implementing your visual paradigm model in NetBeans and setting up GitHub and all of that good stuff. This video is dealing specifically with working with the working with NetBeans to build your model and how that's going to go. So first of all, you need to get your project set up in NetBeans. Make sure that's working with GitHub, and that's all fine and dandy. You can work with your partner. The instructions look like they've been working pretty well for most of you. If you have problems, let me know, and I'll make a video on it. GitHub was down earlier, though, so I've pushed the deadline out by a day. But yeah, that should be fixed and working again now. So once you have a project, you're going to look at your UML diagram. This is the Save the City one that I did a demo for last week. And then you're going to look at your your NetBeans project. And first things first, create the package where your model is going to go, so we have everything nice and organized. Because it's really annoying if all your files are all in just one big folder. It's really hard to find anything that you want. So we package things in Java for clarity, and the naming convention for packages in Java is company name, and then like project name, and a whole bunch of other stuff before you finally get to the actual folder name that you want. And we want model, so byui.cti260. Whatever your project or whatever your project name is, all lowercase, .model, all lowercase. That's your package name. So it's going to create a new package there, and then we're just going to go through, and I'm just going to create a whole, well, as a team, you're first of all going to create a new class and make the player one, why not? And we need to implement serializable, and you can hit, so start typing the word and hitting control space will bring up this little autocomplete dialog. And if you select the thing from there, it'll automatically import anything you need. And then we'll add the properties. So we'll have a string that's a name. And we'll have the item list. I cannot add yet because that's a list of items. And I don't have the item class yet. So I'm going to come back to that. And so I'm going to create a constructor. I'll create my getters and setters by right-clicking, inserting code, adding the getter and setter, and then right-clicking, insert code. I'll add the equals and hash code, and then right-clicking, insert code, adding the toString, and that's all I really will do for now. I think you can override the equals, or no, I already am overriding equals. Okay, chances are we won't use equals or toString, but they might come in handy. So this is what you'll do as a team. You'll get one of these classes all nice and set and good to go. Well, mostly. Like I said, there's no item list yet. And then you'll divvy out the rest of the work. Or together, you may want to just create the rest of the classes, at least as shells. So let's do that. Let's create a new class map. I'm going to change the name of tile. I like location better. It just is clearer to me. So new class location, new class item, and then hero and villain. And once you have all of the classes, we can revisit player, and these are all of your relationships that you're going to have. Some of them are going to be inheritance relationships, but the majority of your relationships are going to be has relationships. So a player has an item. A player has a list of heroes that they've run into and added to their team. A player has a location. So let's add those. A player has a list of items, and I can call it inventory. And again, you can see there's nothing, or they're throwing errors because I don't have the things imported. I can just put my cursor at the very end of that list, hit Control Space, and I want the Java util one. I have a list of heroes. I'll call it team. And then I have a single location. I'm just going to call it location. And then some things that I like to do in my classes is in the constructor, especially if my class has lists, I like to initialize those to empty lists. So I can say inventory gets a brand new list, or array list is the most common one we'll be using. And don't worry about lists too much. I'll teach you more about those later. But just to declare them and initialize them, list or array list as the type. This is the what items are going to be going in the list, or what objects are going to be going in the list. This is a list of items. This is a list of heroes. And when I create it, it's initially null. So whenever the player class is constructed, I want to initialize the inventory to become a new array list, and do the same thing with the team. Something else I like to do is add non-getter and setter methods for those things, like add item to inventory. I'll just say call add item. So if somebody gives me an item I want to take the inventory and add that item I. Again, you don't have to do these at all. The most important is getting the classes set up. Since you don't know a lot about lists yet or anything, this is all just extra stuff that you may want to consider doing. So I can take my inventory, or not my inventory, my team, and add the hero H. So again, a function signature, you're going to probably want mostly public functions. It returns void. It's not going to return anything. It's called add item. It's going to take a parameter item. Within this function, I'm going to refer to it as the lowercase I. And all I'm going to do is take the inventory that's a part of my player instance and add whatever item was given to me to that list. Okay, so that's what you're going to do as a team. As individuals, you'll divvy up the rest of the classes and fill those out the rest of the way. One thing that you should note within map, many of you, oh no, all of you will have a two-dimensional map at some point. For two-dimensional maps, we will be using two-dimensional arrays of locations, or whatever your class is called. So I'll show you what that looks like. So we have a So we have a private variable. It's of type location double array. I'm going to call this locations, or I can call it map, or I can call it matrix. I actually like the term matrix because that's what it is. Or you can call it whatever you want, right? I'm going to call it matrix. And then in our map constructor, I'm going to have two constants that I'm going to declare, though. Or maybe, no. Num rows, maybe 5, and copy that for num calls, and that'll also be 5, but I can change those if I needed to. So in my map, remember how I said I like to initialize lists? We better initialize this location matrix here, and the way we do that is by assigning it a new location array with number of rows and number of columns. So constructor looks a little different for arrays than it does for lists. But this is what you need to do for your map class. Most of you have, no, you all should have a two-dimensional map, at least, if not a three-dimensional. You will all need a two-dimensional array. So this is how you're going to declare it and initialize it. And then you can add all sorts of other things to this map. I don't like to publicly expose this matrix ever, but I like to expose methods like getLocation, where you pass me a row and a column, and I'll just return the location at row column. Again, we'll talk more about arrays and lists later, so you do not have to worry about this. You don't even, no, you really should be doing this actually this week as well. Initialization I'm not going to worry about, but you definitely want this week. So again, that could be my map class for now. I'll probably want to add stuff to it later. But go through, completely finish to the best of your ability all of the other classes. So like I can jump over to location. I can add a, let's do a string for now. For location type, and I had also description. Something else I also had is don't forget the relationships. The location can contain an item, it can contain a hero, or can contain a villain. So let's add those. One of each, right? It could never have a list of items. So we'll say there's an item, private, hero, and private, villain. So variable type villain named villain. You can do that because the uppercase for classes makes those separate things. The villain variable, the villain class. So and then again, for all of these, make sure you implement serializable, and you add all of the getters and setters and constructors and everything you need for the class. Very easy. It's just right clicks and insert code. So shouldn't take you very long. So yeah, that's what your assignments are this week. If there are questions about anything, do not hesitate to post them to the developer forum. I'm a little behind, but I'm going to try and catch up on some answers there. And yeah, I hope that clarifies what you're supposed to do this week. I, again, will post a GitHub video on how to work Git within NetBeans. And but again, it looks like a lot of you already got that going. So yeah, have a good week this week. Sorry I'm late on the video, and I hope everything goes well.